What if I told you that Las Vegas, the city of neon lights, high stakes, gambling, and endless entertainment, wasn't just built on luck alone? But in fact, behind its glittering facade lies a darker, more fascinating history. An empire built by the Mafia. Yes, the mob's grip on this city helped shape it into the iconic Sin City we know today. Without their influence, Las Vegas might never have become the legendary oasis of excess, fame, and fortune it is now. This is the untold story of how the Mafia built Las Vegas. Long before the flashing lights, the roulette wheels, and the massive hotels, Las Vegas was nothing more than a lonely desert outpost. In 1905, it was founded as a humble railroad stop connecting Los Angeles to Salt Lake City. The tracks ran through miles of barren desert, but what made this place special wasn't the land, it was the water, a rare and vital resource in the Mojave Desert. The city was built on natural artesian springs, giving settlers the chance to farm and ranch. In fact, during the early years, it was a place for hardworking farmers, ranchers, and railroad workers. And as for entertainment, well, there was none. Not yet. In fact, between 1910 and 1930, the state of Nevada banned all forms of gambling. Las Vegas was a sleepy town, a far cry from the bustling metropolis we think of today. The population hovered around 5,000 people, and it wasn't until 1931 that everything began to change. In the darkest days of the Great Depression, Nevada made a bold move. It re-legalized gambling. Desperate for jobs and economic relief, the state turned to vice. And just 30 miles from Las Vegas, the Hoover Dam was being built. Thousands of workers flooded the area. Hardworking men, many of them with a thirst for escape. Bars, brothels, and underground casinos began popping up in Las Vegas. And so, Las Vegas got its first real taste of what it could become. The foundation was set. The city was beginning to see what might lie ahead. A future built on gambling, alcohol, and entertainment. World War II saw even more growth. New military bases were built, including Nellis Air Force Base in 1941. Soldiers, fresh with paychecks, needed somewhere to spend their hard-earned cash, and Vegas was ready to welcome them. In the mid-1940s, Las Vegas had legalized gambling, its population was booming, and there were few regulations to hold the town back. Organized crime, seeing an opportunity, moved in like a wave. With the East Coast under tighter law enforcement control, Las Vegas, isolated in the desert, looked like the perfect place to grow their business. And leading the charge was Benjamin Bugsy Siegel. Bugsy Siegel was no stranger to the Mafia world, a flashy, ruthless figure with ties to the New York and Los Angeles mobs. Siegel saw something in Las Vegas no one else did, the potential for a luxurious, world-class resort. In 1946, backed by his partner Meyer Lansky and other crime families, Siegel opened the Flamingo Hotel. It wasn't just another casino, this was a palatial resort, complete with marble floors, Hollywood showgirls, and an air of luxury that had never been seen before. But the Flamingo was a disaster in its early stages. Construction delays, shady contractors, and skyrocketing costs nearly pushed the project past $6 million, a huge sum at the time. The mob was watching closely, and things didn't go as planned. Then, on June 20th, 1947, Bugsy Siegel was gunned down in Beverly Hills. The message was clear. The mob had a stake in this, and they weren't afraid to make it known. But Siegel's death didn't stop the Flamingo. After his assassination, the hotel began to thrive. The Mafia knew Las Vegas was worth the investment. The 1950s were the golden years of Las Vegas. The Mafia controlled the Strip, and resorts were popping up left and right. The Sahara, the Sands, the New Frontier, and the Riviera were all mob-backed hotels, each more extravagant than the last. Behind the scenes, however, the real action was in the mob's hands. The secret? The skim. The Mafia didn't just operate these casinos, they siphoned millions off the earnings, often before the money was counted, taxed, or reported. No paperwork, no trails, just cold, hard cash. And the frontmen, the so-called legitimate owners, kept the show running. All the while, the mob families from Chicago, New York, Cleveland, and Kansas City were collecting. By the 1960s, Las Vegas was a glittering beacon of entertainment. Frank Sinatra crooned at the Sands, Elvis Presley graced the stage, and celebrities rubbed elbows with mob bosses at the craps tables. But change was in the air. In 1967, reclusive billionaire Howard Hughes arrived in town. With a vision to clean up Las Vegas, Hughes began buying up properties: the Desert Inn, the Sands, the Castaways, spending more than $300 million. Hughes was no friend of the mob. His purchases signaled a shift in power, and in 1969, the Corporate Gaming Act made it easier for public companies to own casinos. The era of the mob was beginning to fade. But they wouldn't go down without a fight. In the 1970s, Las Vegas's mob operations were still strong. Two names would stand out above the rest: Frank "Lefty" Rosenthal and Tony Spilotro. Rosenthal ran the casino floor, managing 4 major casinos, while Spilotro was the enforcer, using violence and intimidation to protect the mob's interests. Their empire was efficient, profitable, and dangerous. But the FBI was closing in. Wiretaps, informants, and raids were becoming more frequent. In 1979, federal agents launched the strawman investigations, revealing the skim operations that had been hidden for decades. By the 1980s, the mob's control was crumbling. Indictments, prison sentences, and federal raids forced the Mafia out. And just like that, the curtain had fallen. Today, Las Vegas is a different city. Towering resorts owned by global corporations line the Strip. Entertainment is king, and security is tighter than ever before. But even as the mob's physical presence fades, their legacy still lingers. Las Vegas didn't just become the city of excess by accident. It was built by outlaws, visionaries, and criminals who carved it from the desert sands, shaping it with blood, money, and ambition. The Mafia didn't just visit this city, they created it. And their story will always echo through the neon lights, the laughter, and the high-stakes games that still define Las Vegas today. The mob might be gone, but their legend lives on in every flicker of light, in every roll of the dice, and in the hearts of those who still see the real story of Las Vegas.